the #1 long-form writer that helps SEOs outrank competition at the click of a button using real-time research and NLP. Start ranking content today with contentatscale.ai.
Wix Studio, one end-to-end web creation platform for your agency to deliver exceptional work with absolute efficiency.
Hello, my name's Jade. I now do SEO. I've worked for Screaming Frog, Bauer Media, and at the moment, I'm at Dentsu. I live near Cambridge with my husband, Ewan, who's the one on this side, and with what's turning into a bit of a zoo. Now, I could have shown you the Instagram-ready pictures of these guys all cute and fluffy and looking at the camera, but it wouldn't have been particularly honest of me. 99% of the time, they're either doing something that's, quite frankly, unflattering, or something they really shouldn't be doing. So in the spirit of honesty, I thought I'd show you the truth. And we're going to stick with this theme of being honest today. I wanted to let you all in on a bit of a secret. I don't love my job. I said it. Yeah, I don't love my job. Like it, don't get me wrong, my boss is somewhere in the audience. Hi, Steve. Yeah, I like it, but if I was to win the lottery tomorrow, my co-workers wouldn't see me for dust. I would be in the Bahamas, on the beach, in a sun lounger with a pina colada in my hand, faster than you could say, here's my P45. Now, I've had this dream of quitting the rat race and retiring early for quite a long time. And I've acknowledged that realistically, I'm not going to do it by winning the lottery. I don't play the lottery. And again, thanks, Stephen, I'm probably not going to do it on my salary alone. If I really want to do this, I'm going to have to generate some additional income on the side of my job. And working in digital, the most likely way I'm going to do that is by creating and monetizing websites. Now, if any of you in here today do this, well done you. It is bloody hard work. And we're being honest with each other today. Something else to know about me is fundamentally, I'm quite a lazy person. So as much as I know that this is really something that I should be doing, never actually quite got round to doing it. Until enter generative AI. All of a sudden, I've got a really easy way of just pressing a few buttons and creating reams and reams of content. I don't, God forbid, have to pick up the pen and write anything myself or pay someone to write my content or buy rights to images. I can press a few buttons, get my content, stick it on a website, monetize it, see that profit come rolling in and retire to the beach. Perfect. So we had a particularly boozy bank holiday weekend back in the spring, and I decided that this is when I was going to turn thought into action. And I started making my very first website. I used WordPress as my theme, love a bit of WordPress, and everything else on that website, all of the text, the images, the favicon, whatever, everything you could see on the page was created using generative AI, either ChatGPT or a free image service. My theme was growing vegetables, mostly because my husband is a horticultural consultant. It's very clever. I'd say we probably have an above average amount of chat about growing vegetables in our house. And I mentioned it was a boozy bank holiday weekend. Drunk Jade thinks she's great at French. So I used ChatGPT's translate function to turn everything into French as well and published 2 versions of each page. Now it's safe to say I spent most of this weekend alternating between drinking wine and building the website. There were quite a few sore heads in the Symons Gage household when Tuesday morning rolled around. Mine included, but you're not having a picture of that. So, poured myself a Barocca, popped a couple of paracetamol, and got ready to take a look at my website. Now, my first reaction was one of sheer horror, because the very first thing that I laid eyes on when I opened up the homepage of my brand new website was this. I think there's a laser pointer on here. Can I highlight that? Sort of, you get the picture, the big yellow thing in the middle, right? We're gonna go with pepper. So yeah, sweating at this point, thinking, oh my God, this is the first thing that I've seen on this website. What else is hiding elsewhere? Christ, I don't want to know what it's done to the broccoli. But actually, luckily, the rest of it looked okay. English looked like English, the French looked like French. Sigh of relief. So I installed Search Console, uploaded my sitemaps, and gave it about a month for Google to percolate. Crawl, index, rank, maybe drive some traffic. You can imagine my sheer disappointment when I logged back into Search Console after a month to find that my site had generated a whopping, wait for it, 5 clicks. Sympathy applause? Make me feel better, guys, come on. Woo! Yeah, thank you, yeah. Yeah, that makes me feel so much better. 5 clicks, there we go. Not going to be retiring to the Bahamas on that. All was not lost, however. Impressions-wise, it hadn't actually done all that badly. So, like any good SEO, I decided to investigate a little bit and see if I could figure out why it didn't get that many clicks and was there anything I could do to change it. Started off with tech. Had I accidentally blocked Google, something like that? Nope. Technically, the site was fine. I had even drunkenly managed to do hreflang correctly. That is going on the top of my CV. The next likely culprit was the content. I'd used ChatGPT, and again, being honest with each other today, I hadn't actually read all of the content. I'd just been lazy, copied it, pasted it into my template, and made it look pretty in WordPress. For all I knew, it could have been a load of bollocks. Nope. Read the content, looked fine, asked my horticultural husband to check for accuracy. Nothing particularly weird in there. So yeah, the content wasn't the problem. Now, that was the English. And I will confess, I wasn't going to bother looking at the French. We all know machine translations are shit, right? But, and I genuinely was really surprised at this, when I looked at the keywords that had driven those 1,000 impressions to my website, most of them were actually in French. Interesting. Maybe ChatGPT is not too bad at the whole translation thing. Now, I said that drunk Jade thinks she's great at French. Sober Jade very much acknowledges that she really isn't. So I asked a native French speaker to review the content for me and tell me what she thought. Now, she didn't quite give it nil poire, it wasn't that bad, but she wasn't hugely impressed. She said, reading through it, you could tell, yes, it made sense, but it hadn't been written by a native speaker. So I am just going to pause here and do my responsible SEO thing. Yes, my site got impressions in French. No, I have absolutely no idea why. Please do not use ChatGPT for your translation purposes. It is not good enough yet. So I've investigated the usual SEO culprits, tech, content, nothing's glaringly wrong here. So I turned to how I've actually made the site itself. Can Google tell that I've used ChatGPT? Now I'm going to cut a very, very long story short here and say that yes, for the most part, Google can tell if you've used generative AI to write your content. The question you should all be asking yourselves is, does Google actually care? Now, I went looking for the answer to this, and I'm quite black and white. I like definitive answers to things, but of course, we're dealing with Google. They are being characteristically vague on the subject, aren't they? Not coming out and rolling out the red carpet and saying, yes, we love generative AI, have at it, please write all of your content with it. Equally, they're not coming out and saying no. Just this morning, I saw that they've updated their quality rater guidelines to remove the reference to human written content. Great, didn't have time to put that in the deck. Thanks, Google. But yeah, there's no definitive answer one way or the other about what they like or don't like about AI. So I decided to run a test and force Google's hand. I published some content on my website that was targeted to a completely made-up keyword. And when you Googled it, nothing came up. Search results were totally empty. And my thinking was Google would have a choice. Either they could rank my AI-generated content because they literally had no other choice, or they could turn their nose up and say, no, you know what, we don't like AI-generated content, and we're not ranking it, and we'll leave the search results blank. So I created this guy. This is my Whisperlope, garden pest. Absolute bugger for digging up cabbages. And I got ChatGPT to write me an article about how you can stop this from destroying your garden, and I published it on my site. Gave it a nudge through Search Console, and this time I left it for about a week to see what would happen. Now, Sod's Law dictates that if any of you sitting there right now Google Whisperlope, nothing will come up. I absolutely guarantee it. So I took a screenshot. Here we are. Proof that yes, Google can and will crawl, index, and rank entirely AI-generated content. So, it liked my Whisperlope page. What was wrong with my carrots? Now, I'm sure some of you have been sitting there for the last 15 minutes silently screaming at me, EEAT. And you're absolutely right. That is why my site wasn't getting any clicks. Nothing to do with generative AI at all. This is one of the big competitors for my keywords. The Royal Horticultural Society. Pretty big, pretty well known. Domain authority of 85. Realistically, a brand new website with no links, no authority, no nothing, never really going to rank for the keywords. So that was it. There was my answer. I'd simply chosen the wrong niche. That's fine. I can hold my hands up, drunken mistake. At least I didn't get another tattoo. But it did get me thinking. What if a really authoritative website uses generative AI to write their content? Now, at this point, I would love to show you some results of my own. But as I'm sure many of you guys are also finding, legal teams are being a little bit difficult to persuade where generative AI is concerned. So I haven't had time to build my case together, get them to let me loose with our clients' websites and have results ready for you. Luckily, the Australians seem to be a little bit more relaxed about this sort of thing. This is News Corp. They're an Australian company and they have loads of different news websites right across Australia. And they came out at a conference earlier this year and they announced that they are using AI to create up to 3,000 articles every single week across their portfolio of sites. And the reason they were talking about this is it was working for them. They were hitting their KPIs, the content was performing well. So initially, I was like, yes, brilliant. This is my conclusion to Brighton. I'm going to bring this and say it's working for these guys. Have at it. Wasn't that simple, was it? When you look at what they're actually publishing, it's stuff like this. Where do I find the cheapest fuel near me, or what's the weather going to be doing in my local town tomorrow? And it's almost programmatic, really, the way that they're doing this. They're pulling in the fuel data or the weather information from a database, and they're just filling the text around it with ChatGPT or whatever tool they're using. And to be honest with you, the content on the pages itself isn't really much detailed, or more detailed than what you're seeing there in that meta description. But the reason it's working for them and Google doesn't hate it is because it's meeting the user's intent. If I'm looking for the weather, and I want to know what the weather's doing tomorrow, I don't want War and Peace. I don't care about the jet stream and cloud formations and why the weather's doing what it's doing. I just want to land on that page and, in 5 to 10 seconds, know whether I'm having a barbecue tomorrow or whether I should be digging something out of the freezer. Simple as that. So if I think you've got content that you can honestly look at and say, I can answer the user's intent with 5 to 10 seconds of them landing on this page, it's data-led, something like that, then I reckon AI-generated content could be a really great way for you to try and scale your content process. And there have been some fantastic talks about it. There will be more later today. Highly recommend you give it a go. What about the rest of us? Now, if you ask anybody that knows me, they will tell you, I am not a glass half full kind of person. I am not even a glass half empty kind of person, really. My glass is generally smashed on the floor and my beer is flowing away down the drain. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I would be very nervous about just how much budget I was putting towards using AI to create content directly to be published on my website at the minute. Some interesting headlines about AI at the minute. This is one of my favourites here. OpenAI sued for stealing literally everything anyone has ever written on the internet. Hyperbole, maybe, yeah. But the fact remains, not everybody has agreed on who owns the IP of content that's coming out of AI. Here's this one. ChatGPT and other AI tools are literally getting worse over time, and they haven't quite figured out what they're going to do about it yet. But that's not what's causing me sleepless nights where it comes to AI and SEO. The thing that's making me worry the most is this. People are using it to spam. If you want to laugh at the pub later, I highly recommend you Google this. Do a site search of Amazon, and in your quotation marks, pop in that phrase up there, that as an AI language model. And you will find hundreds of examples of fake reviews where people have tried to use AI to write reviews, and it's gone a bit wrong. And it is quite funny. But what's less funny are the hundreds, thousands, millions, potentially, who knows, of fake reviews and fake content that is going out on the internet every single day. And we as people have absolutely no idea whether what we're reading is true and written by a human or is fake and written by a machine. It's not great. Now, Google, historically, has not had a very good relationship with spam. Google Penguin, an algorithm update that Google launched to devalue websites using spam techniques to create backlinks. Google Panda, an algorithm update that Google launched to devalue websites using spam techniques in their content. Now, I don't think it would be a huge stretch of the imagination to think that, and I'm not saying today, tomorrow, 6 months' time, that they're going to do this, but that they might one day algorithmically devalue content created using generative AI purely because people are using it to spam. Now, you might turn around and say to me, but Jade, they're not going to do that. They're creating tools literally to help us write our content with AI. Surely they wouldn't turn around and say no. They changed the helpful content guidelines literally today. It's not going to happen. Fair enough. I raise you this. Wouldn't be the first time that Google's got behind something and got us all to jump on a train only to be like, whoops, our bad, stop doing it. Remember these guys? I'm just saying. Now, I'm not saying don't use generative AI. That is not what I'm saying at all. If you take anything away from today's talk, it is that AI, generative AI, is amazing. There are so many things that you can do with it. It is the future. All I'm saying is I wouldn't be using it to create content directly to publish on a website. Recommend you check this out if you haven't already. This is Google's own guide to generative AI, and there are so many use cases in here of how you can use it to get the most out of your websites. You can make your site more efficient, all of that kind of stuff, make loads of money, whatever you can dream, AI will help you do it. Check it out, it's really cool. The only thing it doesn't talk about is using AI to write your content for you, so I'd be steering clear of that. And finally, safe to say, I'm not going to be retiring to the Bahamas anytime soon. But the next best thing. If the organisers of Barbados SEO happen to be in the room and you are looking for a speaker for your next conference, my LinkedIn details are on this slide. Thank you.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.